All right, that's 10 seconds of silence. We need that every time to get good audio for the podcast.
A peek behind the curtain. It's very interesting.
Yeah. And here we go. Let me pull up the right thing. Put this over here for edits, if we have any. Hopefully we do not. And we're good. Hello and welcome to the other Discovery Show. The show by the Podcast Discovery Show that is not about podcasts. It's about all of the other things that we have discovered throughout the week and now into 2020. It feels like we're in the future, man. We're in the future.
This is the basis for a lot of sci-fi movies as we hit 2020.
Yep. So, I'm Kirk.
And I am Zach.
And there's something missing.
You may have noticed that there is one member missing. My brother did have to step back from the show so that he could pursue his dream of otter wrangling, and we fully support that. But don't worry, we are going to be trying to bring new changes to the show that are going to make it better than ever. We have a lot of new things, one of which is that we're going to be capturing video on this, and we're going to be live streaming it and hopefully letting you guys know so that you can check it out as we're recording. You can feel more like you're a part of it. You can chat with us while we're streaming and things like that. And we also are just trying to find new segments and new things that we can add to and improve both of the shows.
Yeah, so another announcement, we teased it a little bit on the first episode of the PDS this year, but we're going to move to kind of a bi-weekly schedule. You're still going to get content every single week, but it's going to be 1 week with the Podcast Discovery Show, 1 week of the other Discovery Show. That's what we're thinking right now. It may change. We'll let you know as we go forward. But with that, I guess let's jump in.
It's time to discover some things.
So, true to form, I decided to I knew there would be a list, and I found the list of the top 10 Florida man / Florida woman stories from 2019.
Of course there's a list for that.
There's always a list. So I'm going to go through some of these, and if you want to stop me and get a little bit of more details for any of these headlines, feel free to stop me.
Yeah, let's hear about what this great state has brought the world.
Number 10, Florida man ends SWAT standoff for a slice of pizza. I remember hearing about this one. I read a little bit about it, and it was pretty crazy.
So wait, he was in a standoff.
He was in a standoff.
And it was ended because they brought him pizza.
And they talked him down to, okay, I'll stop if you bring me some pizza.
I mean, whoever that negotiator is deserves a raise.
Right?
That is serious.
This was in Pensacola. By the way, this is all coming from Jacksonville, news4jacksonville.com.
Did you see when you read the story what he was in a standoff for?
I don't remember what he was actually in the standoff for. He was definitely arrested afterward. I don't even know if he got to eat the pizza, but they brought him the pizza.
And that was enough to get him out of the house?
Yeah, it's like one of those things, like, if you bring me the helicopter, then, I'll let all these hostages go.
They're like, oh, we got a helicopter before
There's
you come out.
a helicopter as soon as he comes out.
They just punch him in the head. Yeah, I
so,
can see that.
Yeah, it didn't work out in his favor. He got a pizza, but who knows if he even got to eat it, unless
Probably
they serve pizza in jail. I don't know.
They might.
Number 9, Florida woman, 8 months pregnant, uses AR-15 to fatally shoot burglar.
That's serious.
I remember seeing this story in the interviews. The dude, her husband, got beat up real bad, and she came out of the bedroom with the gun and dispatched him, the assailant.
That is wild.
But it was bad. Like he deserved it. It seems like he was going to hurt people anyway.
I mean, it sounds like he already did, right?
Yeah.
If he attacked the husband.
Yeah, it was this was in Lithia. This was not far from us.
That is not far from us at
all. This is like 15 minutes from where we live. Yeah. So, yep, crazy story. Number 8. Deputies This is from the deputies. Facing DUI charges, a Florida couple had sex in the patrol car on their way to jail. And of course, there's like dash cam footage or like cam footage of it.
Oh God.
No, there's not a video that we're looking, but
He's linking the video on his Facebook.
Definitely not. It happened on Friday the 13th. A Florida couple was arrested in Nassau County on suspicion of cycling under the influence. So they're biking under the influence. Once in the patrol car, they proceeded to shed their clothes and started having sex in the back of the officer's car. When deputies opened the car to intervene, the naked man knocked a deputy to the ground and took off running into the night.
That ending is even better than I expected. Like, so did he escape?
I don't know. I really don't know the full story. There's small snippets
here's what
of
I'm
all
saying.
of these.
Okay, how drunk do you have to be to get arrested for drunk biking? Like, how drunk do you have to be for them to see you and be like, okay, that guy's wasted. We need to get him. Then his first move is like, I'm getting naked with my lady in the backseat of this cop car. And then I guess the cops probably tried to stop him. And then he kicked the cop and he took off naked into the darkness. That is a wild story.
Number 7. There's not much to this headline. It's just the truth. This is what happened. Florida man arrested after an argument over a cheesesteak. Yep. So he became so belligerent that he ended up getting arrested, all because of a cheesesteak.
What? So, like, with the restaurant?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yep.
okay.
Number 6. Florida woman charged with stealing rental car says demons took it.
Never a good sign.
In an interview we will never forget, a woman who was arrested after an SUV was stolen from an Ace rent-a-car in Jacksonville, she said that demons took it. The excuse was almost as outlandish as the one in the story below, which was this. Number 5, Florida man says wind blew cocaine into his car.
Ooh, that's some magical wind. It's blowing cocaine around everywhere.
We've had some windy days. I mean,
yeah, I know.
There
never
might
know.
be something to the story. You never know.
You never know when the cocaine's just going to fly at you out of nowhere.
That darn wind is always causing trouble, especially for Florida man, a 37-year-old man from Fort Pierce, when he was pulled over by police in October. He claimed the cocaine residue found inside a Budweiser can, along with a crack pipe, was blown in there.
A crack pipe.
By the wind.
It was attached to a tiny parachute, and it just flew right in there.
It's like the Hunger Games. Yeah. His sponsors knew that's what he needed right then.
Yeah, it's like you might have gotten away with just saying, "Oh, this bag that's very light flew in," but as soon as you're like, "This pipe flew in from the wind," they're not gonna buy that.
This one is one of the feel-good Florida man stories, and I like this one a lot. 93-year-old Florida man goes swimming in the Gulf of Mexico for the first time. He is, and I read this story. He has lived in Florida his whole life, and this is the first time that he's gone swimming in the ocean.
That is kind of amazing.
Yeah, it says a man who has been living in Florida for over 20 years. I guess not his whole life, but for over 20 years, celebrated his 93rd birthday by going to the beach for the first time. The heartwarming story went viral, gaining thousands of reactions and shares from the U.S.
Live streamers, you're going to see behind the curtain now because I'm very sick. And so I'm going to go blow my nose, but I didn't want to do that on the audio for the podcast.
Yeah, he does not feel good. I don't know if you can tell by his voice. I'm sure you can. That brings us to story number 3. Florida woman brings meth into court, tells deputies that it's makeup.
That is a bold strategy.
Yeah, so first, if you're going to go to court, most likely for drug charges.
It seems like it might be related if she just has meth on her.
Just, how about you leave your meth at home?
Yeah, that would be an option.
A woman in Flagler County was arrested after she entered the courthouse with meth in her pocket. And according to the police officers, officials said she told a deputy that it was makeup used for skin treatment. Detectives tested the substance, and it tested positive for methamphetamine and weighed 1.44 grams.
That's a very specific detail.
Number 2, Florida men, more than one,
Oh, 2 Florida men.
arrested after baby gator forced to drink Coors Light beer.
Just why? That is a ridiculous thing to do.
Just could you not?
No, and how did they? Who found out? How do you get arrested for that? Like, did somebody see them like pouring beer on an alligator?
So here's how they got arrested for it, because they videotaped the act and uploaded it to Snapchat.
Okay, so they're stupid. there you go, right there. Like they self-incriminated it.
And if you're gonna give, a gator some beer, get him something better than Coors Light.
I know, Coors Light.
Come on.
We have so many craft breweries down
And not
here.
only did they give the gator beer, but they also forced it to bite one of the other dude's arms.
These guys sound like
So
some geniuses. I mean,
I'm sure they were drunk. They got the gator
it doesn't
drunk.
seem like it.
And then they videotaped getting the gator drunk and having him bite one of the dude's arms.
It's ridiculous.
A ridiculous story. And this, I love how they ended it. It did end it with one of those feel-good Florida man stories. And I do like this one. I am going to incorporate this one into my Florida Man other show that I have. And it is Florida man buys over 100 generators to send to the Bahamas after the hurricanes.
Yeah, that's a cool thing.
Yep. So that's the top story for Florida Man for 2019. Now it's up to you, Florida men, to top that for 2020. This is going to be some great video, by the way.
Damn it. Why is this not opening the thing? There we go. I'm just going to, since we're already this is just...
This probably won't see the light of day.
What?
This probably won't see the light of day.
No, but it'd be fine if I wasn't, like, actively sick. Okay. Is it still streaming?
Yep. Well, let me check the... Yep, it is still streaming.
Okay. Go to the OBS one. Am I still in frame?
Yep.
Okay. So, I discovered a new web browser. And this web browser was actually created by Brendan Eich, who not only developed JavaScript programming language, which I don't know how familiar you are with it, but very huge.
He developed or he helped develop?
He created the JavaScript programming language in 10 days while working at Netscape. And then he co-founded Mozilla and Firefox in 2004. And then yesterday, which was, I think it was a month ago, they launched a new web browser called Brave. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to fight back against the constant tracking that is very prevalent right now on any, and I get it, they're all trying to monetize what people like, because you can be more efficient at selling ads because you know exactly what people want. They're very effective at using advertising now. But what Brave does is they literally have zero trackers. They have everything that is your data is encrypted on your end. There's no way they can get it. It has built-in ad blocker and built-in like pop-up blockers and things like that. You can literally integrate Tor into your browser, so you can have like a VPN while you're browsing. And then the other thing that they're doing that's very interesting is they're trying to monetize for us advertising. So you can turn on seeing ads, and you get like coins. You get Brave tokens.
Huh.
And there are content creators that are working exclusively with Brave, and you can use those coins to compensate them.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
They have built a currency based on you allow advertisers to try and sell to you, and then you get like a currency, and you can be a benefit to content creators on the platform.
So is it kind of like Twitch, how they have Twitch coins now and stuff like that?
Yeah, and the way you earn these is literally you turn on like, and
you turn on ads.
even when you turn on the ads, I think it's required that they don't get all your information. It's not the same thing where they're data mining your entire life. You're turning on ads, but it's at a certain level, and then you are compensated for it. And I also will link in the show notes he did a Reddit AMA, and he kind of goes through, and Reddit is very skeptical or very intense on things like this, because they're even very self-critical of Reddit itself. And so they do ask like tough questions, interesting questions to try and make sure that because in the end Mozilla was an open source platform. It was supposed to be essentially this. And so they're like, why do you need another one if there's already Mozilla? And so they'll ask him questions that are not just pandering and trying to give him a good interview. But I love the idea of a private web browser that, first of all, they also say that it is faster than any browser you can use. Probably because of the ad blocking.
It makes sense.
Probably because they're not loading ads.
Yeah.
Would be my guess.
Now, my question is, you may not know the answer to this, but are you still able to use the notorious data mining websites, like let's say Facebook? Are you still able to get on Facebook through this browser?
I would think so, but I think that they aren't mining you through the advertisements, you know? So like if you go to Facebook, I think you are opening yourself up to their mining. Because like did you ever hear, did you see the 10-year, it wasn't the 10-year challenge, although it was that too. There was one where they pushed 10 years ahead. They used some kind of filter, and they pushed you to what am I going to look like in 10 years? Do you remember that when that was happening?
Oh, you're talking about there was an app that made you
Yes.
look older? That one?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that
There
crap.
is, and I don't know. It might be conspiracy theory. I don't know. It's one of those conspiracy theories that makes a little more sense. If you look at the 10-year challenge and you look at aging yourself 10 years past, they're getting a very complex data set of aging for millions of people. And one of the conspiracy theories is that they're using that. You know, they're mining that so that they can understand better how people age, and they will be able to know what we're going to look like at any given time because they can kind of progress it.
That's really weird. That is really weird.
So it's one of those things that I don't know if that's true or not, but it's faster. You can be compensated for seeing ads, which they should be paying me for it. I don't know why I'm sacrificing my data for them to sell me crap I don't want. And other than that, it's faster. It seems like a win-win.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds awesome. I'm going to look into it. So you said it's Brave?
It is called Brave Browser.
Brave Browser. All right. Something that's...
The website is brave.com.
Brave.com. Simple enough. As we do move forward with these videos and stuff like that, one of our main goals is to be able to have you, the listener, you, the watcher, the viewer, to interact with us live, and then let's say you had a discovery for the week. While we're discussing, while we're talking, you can send us in the chat, what your discovery is, and then at the end of the episode we can have, listener discoveries. And I think that would be really cool. Also, we're going to integrate some, correspondence. I already reached out to a few of our podcast friends, so we're going to have some people that will be sending us their discoveries in a specific niche, whether it be entertainment discoveries or whether it be animal type discoveries or things like that. And so I'm really excited to be able to do that as well. It's going to be pretty cool.
I'm excited about that too.
So I have a discovery that I found. It was on a Today I Learned on Reddit, and it's a Croatian love story.
Okay.
But it's not the love story you would think of probably right off the top of your head. It is about two storks? Yes. So I'm going to read the story. This is a story from TotalCroatiaNews.com.
Sounds like a very reputable website.
The pictures are it's a really cool story. So
I'm messing with you. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine.
So this is not another version of Romeo and Juliet, though Croatia's had a share of its own tragic couples. This is a beautiful story about Croatia's most famous animal couple. Storks Melina and Kleptit. How would you pronounce that? Klepitan.
Got nothing for you.
Melina and Kay. It's a story of longing, waiting, and overcoming one of the hardest obstacles in any relationship: distance. The tale of Kay and Melina started 15 years ago on a red rooftop in somewhere in Croatia that I can't pronounce.
Yeah, you made
either.
a mistake picking a Croatia story. Like I don't know
I
how
don't
you
even
pronounce
know what
any
some
of
of
these.
those letters are. A small village in Croatia. They've been together ever since. Even though Kay migrates to the warm south, which is the normal thing for storks to do. I'm not going to read the whole article, but it's been happening for 24 years now. The female stork, Melina, got hurt. She broke her wing and she can't fly anymore. So she nests at this guy's house and he takes care of her. But every single year, Klepton.
Yep, that guy.
He flies down. He migrates back to this same house and basically stays with her the whole season that storks are normally in that area.
That
and
is
it's
pretty
funny
amazing.
because the resident of the home always has a bucket ready for him every single year of fish, just ready to feed him and welcome him back to his love, the love of his life.
So he's probably taking very good care of the wife.
It's 13,000-kilometer journey.
That's ridiculous.
That's a long way. He's been taking care of the man's been taking care of her ever since she was injured, and of course he takes care of Krypton every time he arrives as well. I'm trying to find in here. They talk about, of course, they've actually had many babies. How many have they had?
No, literally they have probably had this many babies because of this guy. Just taking care of the girl.
Blow your nose. This is the time.
Ridiculous, dude. I've been blowing my nose so much it's bleeding now.
That is not good.
Ridiculous. I'm so pissed off.
Where's the rest of where does it talk about how many? Because I read this whole article the other day. It's a really cool article. Yeah, she broke her leg 22 years ago. Not her wing. She did break her wing. Sorry. She broke her wing 22 years ago and hasn't flown since. And every spring, Krypton flies back to be with her. And the owner of the home always has a bucket of fish ready for him when he gets there.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And I can't find in the article how many babies they've had, but they've had babies, and it's an amazing story.
Yeah.
And people have asked how do you know that it's him? And he has specific markings, and that's why they know that it's him every year. And he literally goes to the same spot where the bucket is every year. One year he came early, and the guy hadn't had the fish yet, and the stork was pecking the bucket, hey, where's my fish?
Yeah,
I'm here.
I mean,
where's my welcome home gift?
If it's not Kleptoponon, then it's some other genius stork that just snuck in there and just went in on a great situation. No, but that's really cool that you also have kind of the human symbiosis too.
Yeah. And
somebody that's gone out of their way to take care of them.
There's a picture, and this dude is on this rickety
yeah,
rickety thing that he built near his chimney on top of his house,
feeding
birds.
The
storks. And it's a heartwarming story. It's beautiful. We'll have the link in the show notes. And I just thought it was a really cool story, and a heartwarming one as well. And I think there's actually a video as well.
Okay, that sounds awesome. So this week, I discovered some really interesting stuff about champagne. Champagne.
Perfect timing, as New Year's is just over.
New Year's has just happened. People might have had champagne or maybe a nice Prosecco from Walmart. But essentially, everyone knows what champagne is. But to me at least, I always associated Champagne with the Champagne region in France, which it obviously makes sense. But anybody who's listening to the show will know that I love Atlas Obscura, and I saw an amazing article about Champagne and the impact that the English had on Champagne. So this article is called How an English Energy Crisis Helped Create Champagne. So they were having problems with timber in general. In the 17th century in England, they were having problems with lack of timber, and so they said, stop using wood to fire your glass making.
Okay.
And this is one of the first things that kind of sent them on this path. So all of the glass makers in England, which apparently this was a huge thing in England. They were very, very effective at making glass at this time. And literally we're talking about the 1600s.
Mm-hmm.
And they had been using wood for these fires forever. And they had to figure out how to adapt to this. So I feel like English wine does not have a great persona.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard do you have a good English wine?
A fine English wine. But in the end, they had worked on the same types of things for a long time. And so they had been working on a lot of this. They had been making glass for a long time. And they had also started to figure out champagne. So there was someone named Sir Christopher Merritt. And he was very curious, and he was a philosopher. He was like a scientist, and he was just generally curious. And he would just kind of try and find things. And he was listing all of the different like flora, fauna, and minerals in England. And then he noticed that some of the wine coopers were using extra sugar and molasses to make all sorts of wine. And that is what champagne is, which this is one of the first things I didn't realize. Champagne, it's a wine, but then once the wine is made, you ferment it again. So you make wine, and then you add more sugar and molasses, and you seal it. So you get the yeast going again. But then you close it, and that's why it's so bubbly, because it just like goes insane. And on this article, you'll have to check it out. There's and I can actually show you, but there's a picture of what they had to wear when they were inspecting champagne bottles.
It looks like a fencing glass.
A
fencing mask.
It's literally a metal mask, like Man in the Iron Mask looking, because the explosion rate was ridiculous. They had like 40% loss on champagne bottles, because when you add that much
pressure,
fuel to the yeast, and then you cork it, they say that it's 3 times more pressure than a car tire.
What?
So
dang.
Then came how the English helped. The English had to switch to using coal. They had to figure out how to use coal to make glass again. Yeah, to make glass again. But coal burns hotter than wood does.
Okay.
And so they were able to figure out how to make more effective glass. And then because of that, champagne was able to take off in a way that it was not before, because it was essentially, if you're losing 40% of what you're making, that's not gonna. How do you make money?
That is not good.
It's how are you ever gonna make that stick around? But then there's also the whole thing of, okay, have you heard of Dom Perignon?
Mm-hmm.
So the lore is that he was a French monk that I guess made champagne for the first time. And he, the quote I think is,
I love that.
"Come quickly, I'm tasting the stars." And this article at least says that it is virtually impossible that he actually discovered champagne, just because at the time when even we have a historical record of Merritt, the English researcher, talking about champagne, he was not even yet at a monastery. He wasn't even there to do it. But literally, if you go to the Moët,
has he been
building,
like attributed to?
Oh yes, he's the guy, the monk who found champagne and everything. But it was just, this is seriously a great website. I'm gonna make that part of my discovery. Atlas Obscura, check it out. You can check out awesome places to travel. You can check out awesome stuff about food, history.
What was the other one? Gastro Obscura or something?
Yeah,
like
that's the food one.
Yeah.
If you just check it out. We are not sponsored by them. I just love their website. But yeah, no, it was just interesting because I had always first of all, I didn't know how they made champagne. I didn't know
it was a wine.
Yeah, it literally just is. So it makes a lot of sense that they just call it sparkling wine or prosecco if it's not from Champagne, but it's basically just wine that they add some more stuff to and get it going again, and then you drink it. But it does have an amazing mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Because of that.
So I'm going to close out my discoveries this week with another Florida man story. This was one of my favorite Florida man stories of 2019. So in Chicago, they had a gator that got loose in Humboldt Park Lagoon. Apparently, it was probably like somebody's pet, and they just let him go.
Okay.
And he got loose in the park, and of course everybody was freaking out. And it's funny because I look at pictures and I'm like, every pond in Florida has a gator that size. That's a tiny gator for Florida. But everyone in Chicago was freaking out.
Yeah, if you take that to Chicago, they are not ready for any size gator.
No, they are not. And so they spent like 8 days after first being spotted trying to catch this thing, and they could not catch it. Nobody could catch it in Chicago. So what they did, they called Florida Man. Hey, Florida Man, can you come up here to Chicago and see if you can catch this gator? And in less than 24 hours, Florida Man caught said gator.
Wow. That is an effective hero call right there.
So Frank Robb was brought in after several of their attempts had failed, and this is his quote. I think we had taken 8 loops around the lagoon.
I like how it immediately turns into Florida Man voice.
And surrounding areas before we finally saw him. But once we were able to see him, it was one cast, and it was done. And what I love about it is not only did they catch him, but, of course, they had to give him all of these nicknames.
Okay.
So the nicknames that stuck for the gator there was 2 of them. Croc Obama, which I don't like because he's not a croc, he's a freaking alligator.
Yeah, I get that.
But this one I like even better. Chance the Snapper.
Okay, yeah, I can get behind that one, 100%.
So Chance the Snapper was caught, and now they're saying that they're probably going to put him in a zoo up there and have him have a nice life in captivity where he won't scare anybody anymore.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I will say that Croc Obama is a great name for a crocodile. Like, it just is. That's a great name. But yeah, it's not an alligator. But yeah, I do love that you can call on Florida Man when you need him, and he's going to go catch that alligator.
He will. He will catch any alligator. He might get it drunk, but he will catch it.
Yeah, he's going to catch it and then party with it. That's the best kind of hero. So for the final discovery of episode 1 of season 4 is the musician of the week, and her name is Hatchie. She is from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. She makes, they call it dream pop. It's really cool sounding. I feel like there's some Cranberries vibes in there. It's got a cool pulse to it, but it's original and interesting and really fun to listen to. And the song I'm going to recommend is called Sure from her 2017 album Sugar and Spice. But also, if you like Hatchie, she is touring Australia right now, and she has a new album out called Keepsake that you can check out. One more thing that we needed to tell everyone is we always tell you that if you had any discoveries this week, let us know what they are.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to make that easier for you. We wanted to make this something so that you...
It's downstairs.
Hold on, you.
You hold on. You give me 1 second. I know where it's at. Just give me a second. Let me write the edit down.
I'm just going to restart that tire.
Okay, yep.
It's so hot up here.
It is. I can't tell if I'm sweating because I'm sick or because I'm hot.
Great video.
No, I think it's going fairly well. We're almost done, so I'm living the dream. Oh. I almost want to put this out just so people can watch me be in misery recording.
funny is I just ran all the way downstairs and I realized I was smart and left it up here. It was right behind my computer the whole time.
So one more thing. We always tell you if you had any discoveries this week to let us know. But we felt like we wanted to make that easier for you. And we also went away to, and we love to talk about the people in the podcast Discovery Club that put stuff in there. But we wanted to have a way so that you could be on the show. And so we created the PDS hotline. And now you can call our phone number. You can tell us what your discovery was this week, and we're just going to play it live on the air.
Yep.
We're gonna just let you be a part of it. So if you want to call the PDS hotline, we will have the number in the show notes. Or if you don't want to do that, it's 813-708-9118. So let us know if you had any discoveries this week. And who knows, you might be on next week's episode.
Yep, we'll be listening.
But yeah, we're super excited for the next year of the PDS. We can't wait to discover new stuff with you. We appreciate everyone listening. And without further ado, enjoy Shore by Hatchie.